Have you ever been telling scary stories at a sleepover when you suddenly heard a noise that made your soul leave your entire body? I mean, it's all fun and games when you remember that it's just a story, right? But what if the monster turned out to be real and it was coming after you and your friends that very night? I mean, that's exactly what happens when this girl Emma and her new friends decide to play a prank on their neighbor, only to wake up an evil spirit that starts picking them off one at a time. So today on How to Beat, we're gonna have a damn good day and break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the sleepover of death in Let's Scare Julie. This girls' night is about to become a girl's fright. Late one night somewhere in a quiet neighborhood, this girl Emma here is trying to get some sleep when someone comes along and pulls the sheets off of her bed. She's jolted awake and looks over to see a strange man climbing up beside her. Terrified, she makes a run for the door, but it's locked. And just when it looks like she's done for, her cousin Taylor turns on the lights, revealing that it was all just a prank. You see, Emma here just moved in with her cousin after her parents tragically passed away, and she's been trying to fit in with the girl's troublesome group of friends, but she isn't a fan of the way that they're always playing pranks. Just then, the girl starts having an asthma attack, and it almost gets bad until Madison finds her inhaler under the bed, but they're still treating it like it's all just a big joke. Frustrated, Emma storms out of the room, but Taylor chases her out to the hallway and brings her back. Apologizing, she says that it's just their way of welcoming her to the group, but if she wants to fit in, she has to go along with whatever they do. Now that she's feeling better, the girls go back inside to join the others, but tonight, their pranks are about to go a little too far. Alright, these girls are already heading for trouble, and pretty soon, it's just a prank, bro, won't be enough to save their lives. Look, I know they're acting like they just want Emma to fit in, but what they're really doing is known as group hazing, where a group makes their new members go through humiliating or even dangerous rituals to show their loyalty. I mean, they might play it off as harmless fun, but in reality, they're teaching Emma that they have power over her and forcing her to do whatever they say if she wants to belong. It also shows the others what'll happen if they ever go against the group, making them even more willing to go along with it. But it can easily turn dangerous, like we just saw with Emma's asthma attack, and the more that they normalize it, the better that the chances are that they'll eventually go too far. Now, the constant pranking isn't just mean, it's actually rewiring how their brains react to danger. In psychology, this is called conditioning and desensitization. Basically, whenever we do something that leads to a specific outcome, our brains learn to connect the action with the result, and since the girls are always pranking each other, things that should make them afraid always turn out to be harmless. When a normal person senses danger, our brain's threat center lights up and activates our fight or flight response. But with the constant false alarms, they're training their brains to underreact, so if they're even in real danger, they'll end up ignoring the red flags until it's already too late. This puts Emma here in a tricky situation. Like, on one hand, she could try singling out one of the weaker girls and taking her position in the squad, but that only continues the cycle. Instead, she needs to establish clear boundaries. Otherwise, these girls are gonna walk all over her. I'd agree to go along with the harmless pranks like prank calls and things like that, but draw the line at anything that's straight up dangerous, illegal, or overly cruel. I mean, that way she can still be a part of the team without feeding into their worst ideas. They obviously lack empathy, so anytime Emma wants to turn them down, I'd frame it in a practical sense, like, I'm not doing that because I don't want to get arrested kind of thing. I mean, that way she can start making them think about their actions without coming off as a narc. I mean, the bottom line is that Emma needs to realize these girls are toxic, and if they won't play nice, then she's better off not associating with them at all. Even after they almost put her in the hospital, they were still treating everything like it's a big joke, so if that's how they roll, then I would find some new friends before things got even worse. Back in her room, the girls all introduce themselves to Emma for the first time, and the redhead Paige immediately makes things awkward by asking what happened to her parents. Taking a look around, they start digging through all of her stuff and cracking jokes about her collection of classical music, but Taylor explains that it used to belong to Emma's father. She keeps trying to stop the girls from making fun of her cousin, but it's obvious that Emma is starting to get uncomfortable. Annoyed, Taylor tells them all to quiet down, insisting that her dad will flip out if they wake him up. Apparently, he's pretty strict, and the girls bring up the fact that he recently took Emma's phone away. Curious, they ask what she did to make him so mad, and Taylor explains that he caught the girl digging through his personal belongings. And as punishment, he went through Emma's messages and found a scandalous pic from a boy in the neighborhood, causing her to get in even more trouble. They keep going through her things until even Taylor is starting to get annoyed, but that's when Madison finds something that actually creeps her out. It's a strange-looking doll with a tiny key around its neck, and they're all shocked that she would have something like that in her room. Taylor warns her cousin that her uncle is going to freak out, but meanwhile, Madison is holding it up and taking pictures just to make fun of it. It turns out that Taylor's father took it from the neighbor's house after the old woman who lived there passed away. According to the girls, he found a strange key in the driveway that led to him discovering the doll, and Paige asks them to tell her the whole story. Starting from the beginning, Taylor explains that the neighbor's name was Miss Durr, and over the years that her family lived there, no one ever saw the woman outside of her house. Rumors spread around that her son had died in some kind of tragic accident, and after his death, she started practicing occult magic behind those walls. Taylor only knew one person who'd ever seen her, another boy from the neighborhood, who saw the woman standing on her porch one morning while he was alone. She was dressed in filthy clothes and kept staring straight at him, but the strangest thing was that her skin looked blue, and he said that she looked like a rotting corpse. The kid spent the rest of the day acting nervous, as if he felt like somebody was stalking him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen, and that's when he got a mysterious text. There was no name or number to show where it came from, and the only thing they sent was a picture taken directly from behind his back. That night, he disappeared right out of his own house, and the boy was never seen again. Oi, governor, let me just stop you right there. They're all treating this like it's a big joke, but it sounds to me like these girls are messing with something supernatural. Now, I doubt they know enough German to put this together, but the neighbor's name was actually a red flag in and of itself. The name Durr actually comes from the Middle High German word door maker, and even though she wasn't literally making doors, it definitely sounds like she knew a thing or two about opening portals to the underworld. Yeah, it's a small detail, but pretty soon you're gonna see why this is relevant. As for her bluish gray skin, the kid who saw her said that she looked like a rotting corpse, and he probably wasn't that far off. After death, as I'm sure you guys know, your blood stops circulating and getting oxygen, leading to that bluish color. If he was correct, then Miss Durr didn't just look dead, she was dead, meaning that there was some kind of dark magic that must be afoot here. Which brings us to the doll. Now, take one look at this thing, and what does your gut tell you? Don't touch it, don't even look at it, and definitely don't start taking selfies with it like you just opened a damn Labubu. It's clearly handmade, so the person who created it must have done so for a reason. Now, you might want to call it a voodoo doll, but that's not necessarily accurate here. Those little cloth dolls full of pins are sadly a Western stereotype, and they don't have anything to do with the actual voodoo religion. There are some real-life practices that use dolls for harm, such as poppets used in European and Appalachian folk magic. These small, human-shaped figures are used to represent a specific person, and their purpose depends on like the creator's intent. You know, some can be for love, protection, and healing, while others can be cursing and causing harm. They can be made out of almost anything, but they usually contain a personal item from the target, whether that's a valued possession or even some of their hair, nails, or blood. This creates what's known as a tag lock, essentially binding the target and the doll so that any harm inflicted on the doll finds its way over to the real person. Needless to say, it's not the kind of doll that you want to mess with. I mean, the negative energy coming off of that thing needs to be contained pronto. So here's what I would do. First, stop f***ing touching that thing, but wrap it in a natural cloth like cotton or wool and sprinkle salt into the wrapping. The reason for this is because natural materials are believed to hold grounding energy that absorbs the bad vibes. Next, I would place the object in a sealed container like a wooden box or a glass jar, and then tie it shut with a red or a black string, which are both colors meant to represent protective or binding energy. After that, seal the box with wax or even duct tape to make it airtight, and stick it somewhere like in the attic or a basement, surrounding it with a salt circle just in case. I mean, that should be enough to at least keep it safe until they can get help from somebody who understands the object better. Hearing a noise outside, Taylor starts to get nervous as she imagines what it would be like if the same thing happened to one of them. That's when Madison gets an idea and says that the 5 of them should go check out the house. Emma tries to warn them that it's not a good idea, saying how she actually saw a family moving in the day before. It's just a dad and his high school-aged daughter named Julie, but so far they haven't had the chance to meet them. Just then, they hear a knock at the door and open it to find Emma's little sister Lily asking to come inside. Worried that she'll wake up her dad, Taylor hustles the girl into the room but turns around to see that Madison somehow found her dad's revolver. Furious, Taylor yells at them all to cut it out, but the other girls just keep messing around, only stopping after they notice that they're making Lily afraid. The conversation then turns back to the new girl across the street, and Jess here is curious to find out more about her. Emma says that she saw the girl earlier that day but couldn't get a good look at her before she went back inside the house. All she could tell was that the girl was skinny and had her head covered up with some kind of scarf. The girls immediately start cracking jokes again, but the story only makes them even more curious, which is when Jess mentions that there haven't been any cars in the driveway all night, but she has a feeling that the house isn't empty. When she pulled up, the place was completely dark, but now looking over, they can see a light on in one of the bedrooms. Taylor noticed a Jeep parked outside during the move-in, but when Emma saw the girl, the car was gone, leading them to the conclusion that Julie must be home alone. This makes her the perfect target for another one of their pranks, and it doesn't take long before the other girls want to go pay their new neighbor a visit. Taylor is not really sure if this is a good idea, but the other three eventually pressure her into it, saying that they can use some light-up masks to give the girl a good scare. That's when they remember that Emma knows where to find the key, but she doesn't like the idea of helping them with their evil plan. In fact, she refuses to tell them where the key is, so Taylor offers her a deal, saying that she'll get the girl her phone back if she helps them get the key. Emma's annoyed that her cousin has been holding out on her, but she eventually agrees to help them out, making them promise to at least be nice to the girl after they've had their fun. There's just one problem. The key's downstairs next to her gun-toting uncle, but pressuring her into it, Taylor finally convinces her to go. Before she leaves, Taylor warns her cousin to be extra quiet, worried that her dad would lose it if he catches them. Nervous, Emma heads out to find the keys, but she's going to regret it before the end of the night. Alright, Emma needs to be careful here because this group of idiots has already shown her 10 times over that they're not to be trusted. Let's not forget that on the first night that she ever met them, they pranked her into an asthma attack, okay? They made fun of her dead parents, they waved a revolver in front of her sister, and even used her phone as a bargaining chip. And the worst part is, they never even said, "I'm sorry." Now they're escalating from harmless pranks to a full-blown home invasion. And even though they're trying to pretend like it's just their way of welcoming her to the neighborhood, it's obvious that they're only interested in Julie for their own sick entertainment. They're bullies, and she has absolutely no reason to trust a single word that they say. Despite that, she's decided to help them out. But whether that's a good decision or not, her next objective is to find the key without getting into trouble. To do this, she'll have to sneak past her drunken uncle, so it's a good thing that he's been hitting the bottle all night. You know, alcohol sedates your central nervous system, making you fall asleep quicker and deeper than if you were sober. I mean, as a side effect, it increases your time spent in slow wave sleep, which is the time when it's the hardest to wake somebody up. This means that he's more likely to sleep through noise, movement, or even someone reaching right next to him. But once the alcohol wears off and the REM sleep finally catches up, he'll actually become more likely to wake up, so it's better to act fast while he's sleeping like a little drunk baby. First, Emma needs to prepare herself before she leaves the room. If she's got shoes on, take them off, because socks are much quieter and give you more control. I'd also grab a pillowcase, that way she can wrap the key so it won't make any noise. Now, if she doesn't want to get caught, then she needs to start playing Metal Gear Solid and learn to become a master of stealth, just like Solid Snake. And the first step in the way of the ninja is learning how to move quietly. The key is to walk in a crouched position with your knees bent, keeping your center of gravity low. This allows you to reproduce the impact of footfalls and maintain a more balanced and controlled nature. When she takes a step, she can use a technique called fox walking that's used by real-world trackers and hunters. What you want to do is land on the outside ball of your foot closest to your little toe. Then you want to roll your foot inwards, allowing the entire ball to touch the ground before gradually shifting your weight back onto your heel. And if done correctly, this should minimize the impact of each step and keeps the pressure gradual to avoid sudden noises, allowing her to sneak up on her uncle without being noticed. But of course, getting the key is just giving the girls exactly what they want, and we've already discussed why this is a bad idea. So instead, the best thing that Emma can do here is pretend like she couldn't find the key at all. That way, maybe they'll get bored and move on to something else. Emma creeps through the hallway, trying to stay as quiet as possible, making her way over to the steps and down to the first floor. As she reaches the landing, she sees her uncle passed out in the living room, and nervous, she cautiously sneaks around to the side of the couch. Getting down on all fours, she crawls right past him and quietly pulls open the drawer, carefully grabbing the key from inside. Once she has it, she's about to head back for the stairs when she accidentally trips and drops the key, making a loud noise that almost wakes the man up. But she gets away without being caught and goes back upstairs to find the other girls. Relieved, she goes back to her bedroom expecting Taylor and her friends to still be there, but strangely, it looks like there was some kind of struggle and there's no sign of the girls anywhere in sight. Worried, she goes to her cousin's room instead, but it's empty too, meaning there's only one place left to check. Going to Lily's room, she quietly opens the door and peeks through. Sensing a prank, she yells at the girls to cut it out, but when no one responds, she decides to turn around, and suddenly she crashes into somebody in a light-up mask, and the others come out to surround her as she stumbles to the ground, but when the lights come on, she realizes that it was just Taylor and her friends. They even had her little sister in on it, and Emma's so annoyed that they're still playing games. The other girls are excited to hear how she managed to find the key, and as promised, Taylor gives her cousin's phone back as a reward. Now it's time to go prank their neighbor, and the girls ask Emma if she wants to join in on the fun. It looks like there's been a change of plans, because now that they've got the key, they've decided that they're not going to make friends with Julie after the scare. Hearing this, Emma tries to talk them out of it, but her cousin insists that it's already too late. She's worried about the girl following them back to her house, so their plan is to split up when they run away. That way, she won't know where they came from. Before leaving, the girls all huddle up for a group photo in their light-up masks. And with that, it's time for their evil plan to begin. But it won't be long before they realize that they've just made their biggest mistake. Alright, this is an absolutely terrible idea, and if any of these girls had a clue what was good for them, then they'd be staying home to rot their brains with reality TV instead. Emma here really needs to work on her situational awareness. I mean, as rapper J. Cole once said, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you." Yeah, and in this case, that's absolutely true. Emma knows these girls love pulling pranks, so as soon as they all went mysteriously missing, she should have known exactly what they were up to. And when she opened the bedroom door, she could literally see a foot right there. If she keeps falling for these pranks, it's just gonna make her look weaker in front of the group, so she needs to keep her guard up, unless she wants these girls to turn her into a total laughingstock. Now, the next problem is that their plan really sucks. I mean, first of all, these masks, they aren't even scary. If I saw that, I'd assume that the local teenagers are just trying to scare me with some dollar store purge mask. So they need to work on their costumes if they want to be taken seriously. What's actually scary is the amount of crimes that they're about to commit. This is more than just a simple trespassing. Using a stolen key to enter a house is considered breaking and entering, right? So they're catching a nice felony right off the bat. The worst part is that they all planned this together, so even though Emma is not going, she can still be charged with conspiracy, and that group photo that they took right before the crime might as well be hashtagged guilty, because it's not gonna help their case when they're sitting in front of a judge. The girls are assuming that Julie must be home alone, but I wouldn't be so sure. After the story that they just heard, I'd be worried that it wasn't a person turning those lights on at all. Maybe it's a spirit, and I sure as hell wouldn't want to find out. Bottom line, they have no way of telling who or what is inside of that house, so it's not a stretch to think that this prank could end with them getting 86'd, or something even worse. But if they're determined to go, then this leaves Emma here with a choice. Maybe she should just stay out of it, or maybe Emma should snitch to their parents. Like she already has her phone back, and it's not like these girls were being nice to her anyway. I mean, honestly, it serves them right for treating her like total crap since the moment they first met, and it also prevents the poor girl across the street from becoming another one of their victims. Maybe they'd finally learn their lesson and stop acting like bullies, but unfortunately, it looks like that's something that she's gonna have to learn the hard way. After the other girls leave, Lily asks why they couldn't go with them, promising that she wouldn't be scared. Emma explains that they need to stay home where it's safe, and this brings up memories of what happened to her father, but she's determined to help her little sister get through it. While they're playing Elevator, they hear a loud thunder crash outside as it begins to rain, and look out to see the other girls having the best time of their lives. There's a part of Emma that secretly wishes that she could go with them, but she tells her sister that it's time for bed. After tucking her in for the night, Emma goes back to her room and starts texting her friend Jordy, asking why he sent that scandalous pic. She asks if they're just friends, but the guy stops responding, and while she's waiting for him to text back, she gets distracted by a strange noise from across the street. Looking out her window, she notices one of the girls running back towards the house, and strangely, it looks like she's absolutely terrified. A moment later, the girl sprints into the house and rushes back upstairs to Emma's room. It's Paige, but there's still no sign of the others, and when she asks the girl what happened, her story sounds a little bit fishy. Gasping for breath, she explains that they ran into some kind of trouble back at Julie's, and now she's acting like whatever attacked them is still after her. She claims that only 3 of them even made it to Julie's room in the first place, but she couldn't tell who they were because of the masks. Well, Emma here thinks that she's full of it, and frustrated, she goes out to the hallway to look for the others, but that's when something catches her eye. Someone opened the door to her sister's room, and Paige swears that it was not her. Worried, Emma immediately goes to check it out, and it looks like her worst fears just came true. There's no sign of her sister anywhere, and the only thing that she finds is the creepy little doll sitting in the middle of her pillow. Frustrated, she makes Paige swear that it's not another prank, but the girl promises that she's telling the truth. They start trying to figure out what happened to the others, and Paige mentions that she's heard Jess's voice while they were in the neighbor's room. This still leaves 2 girls unaccounted for, but Emma remembers that Taylor was supposed to pick up her mother from the airport later that night. That could explain what happened to her cousin, and maybe she decided to take Lily along for the ride. This is not good. Emma's sister just disappeared, and she's failing to see the bigger picture here. Statistically, when a child actually goes missing, the danger starts within the first 15 minutes of when they're unaccounted for. Like when the caregiver assumes that they're with somebody else. Yeah, that delay is the most dangerous time, so acting fast can make all the difference. The FBI says that after the first 3 hours, they have less than a 1 in 4 chance of ever seeing Lily again, and after 24 hours, it's a less than 1 in 10, so there's literally no time to waste here. They need to confirm whether or not Taylor actually took Lily to the airport. I'd look outside to see if her car was still there, and if it is gone, I would immediately call to see if the girl's with her. If she won't answer because they're playing another prank, then, Emma can use the house phone instead, and she might decide to pick up thinking that it's her dad. Otherwise, they'll have to start searching the house as fast as they can, and as much as they don't want to, it's their time to wake up their uncle. Yeah, he's not going to be happy about it, but they're going to need all the help that they can get, and it's always better to bring an adult into the situation. And if he's too drunk to be helpful, they should just own up to their mistakes and call the police, because now that Lily's safety could be at risk, they don't have time to cover up for their friends. Unless this kidnapper can somehow defy the laws of physics, more on that later, then we have to assume that Lily is still within 15 to 10 minutes of the house. Young kids who wander off don't tend to get very far, and statistics show that more than 50% of missing kids are found within a quarter mile of where they disappeared, which is, pretty cool. But this means that if Lily is left on her own, then she's most likely somewhere nearby. So I'd start by checking all of the classic hiding spots like inside closets, under beds, in the laundry room, before making my way to the garage to check the cars, and finally going out back to check the shed and the backyard. As her sister Emma should know Lily better than anybody, so she needs to imagine things from the girl's perspective and think where she might go if she was afraid. When they call her name, they should do it in a friendly voice so that the girl won't think that she's in trouble, and stop often to listen for any noises that she might make. Instead of splitting up, they should work together to check each room in an organized fashion and bring flashlights to help them search in the dark. Hopefully they'll find the girl without much trouble, because otherwise they'll have to confront the possibility that she ended up across the street, but we'll get to that soon enough. They decide to try calling the other girls to see if anyone answers, but now it looks like neither of them are picking up. They try Madison next, but that's when they hear a strange noise coming from the other room. Listening closely, they realize that it's a vibrating phone, and worried, Emma follows the noise over to her cousin's room. Looking inside, she finds something lying underneath in a sleeping bag in the middle floor, and pulling it back, she's horrified to see Madison's body hidden inside. I mean, for a minute it looks like she's really dead, but sure enough, she eventually jumps up and scares her, revealing that it was just another stupid prank. Although Madison here is still having a great time, Paige seems worried, asking what happened to her back at the house. Confused, she explains that she beat them all back to Taylor's, and claims that she never noticed any signs of trouble. As for Taylor herself, she explains that the girl went to the airport just like Emma suspected, but this still leaves Jess unaccounted for. The two of them are still arguing over what happened, but it seems like Madison got out before things got really bad. On the other hand, Paige saw something that scarred her for life, saying that the girl had some kind of terrible reaction when they pranked her. As for Jess, Paige says that she disappeared straight through the floor while they were running out of the house. It doesn't make any sense, and at first the other girls refuse to believe a word that she says, but that's when things get even worse. Emma suggests that she might have gone to the airport with Taylor and Lily, but Madison has some bad news. She watched Taylor leave, and Emma's sister wasn't with her, meaning that they have no idea where she's gone. Worried, Emma keeps thinking of a logical explanation, hoping the girl might have tried following the others outside. And if that happened, there's a chance that they're still in the backyard, but she's afraid that her uncle might catch them first. Well, Madison here says that he wasn't on the couch anymore when she came in, but for some reason they decide to try calling Jess again first. This time the girl actually picks up, but it isn't the good news that they were hoping for. It sounds like she's gasping for breath and begging for help. But as Madison runs to the window, there's a terrifying scream from the other end of the phone, and the call suddenly goes dead. That's the last that they'll ever hear from Jess. Hoping that it's just another prank, Madison immediately calls her friend back, but sure enough, the girl never picks up. It's completely out of character, and getting more nervous, she decides that it's time to take action. Telling the other girls to stay there and search for Lily, she announces that she's going back across the street to get Jess. Before she leaves, Madison and Paige share a romantic kiss, and with that, she disappears into the night, never to be seen again. Well, I guess Madison here won't be making it to the next sleepover. If these girls had a single brain cell between all three of them, then they'd be on the phone with the police right now. They might be worried about getting in trouble, but after hearing Jess scream, they should all be well aware that this is an actual emergency, and blindly running over there without any sort of plan is like a good way to get somebody killed. The absolute last thing they should ever do is split up. That's usually a bad idea in general, but it's even worse when you remember what they're dealing with. Based on what they know from Taylor's story, they can start putting together a picture of what's happening. The spirit of Mrs. Durr appears to be tied to the house, and when she attacks, she singles out a target, waits until they're alone, and then makes them disappear. So naturally, we need to counter her attack pattern, and sticking together is step one. Now, the best strategy for their own survival would be to call the police, lock themselves in a room, and ignore any mysterious sounds until somebody else figures this out. Otherwise, they'll need a plan. And the doll seems like a pretty good place to start. The thing keeps showing up in different places around the house, and everything went wrong after the girls started messing with it. So, if her uncle stole it from Mrs. Durr, then maybe, just maybe, if they bring it back, her spirit will leave them alone. If they want to go with this plan, then they'll need to stick together and hit the house as a group. But before going over there, I would also put salt in their pockets or bags so they can quickly deploy it in case of trouble, bring some flashlights to help them see in the Dizark, and tie them all together with a rope or sheets. That way they can't be separated from the team. Now, if the spirit can drag people through floors, then it's reasonable to assume that we can also physically interact with it. And if that's the case, then bringing a weapon couldn't hurt. When they reach the house, they should knock first and announce their intentions as a sign of respect. Once they're inside, they need to stick together and return the doll to wherever they think it belongs. With any luck, maybe that will be enough to get Lily and Jess back. Staying back, Emma takes her phone and puts it on the charger before leading Paige outside to check the backyard for her sister. It's pouring rain now, and it seems like there's absolutely no sign of the girl, but that's when Paige gets a notification on her phone. Checking the message, she immediately starts getting sick and runs back inside without explaining what happened. Emma can't stop her, but she picks up the girl's phone and decides to start checking the kitchen instead. Desperately searching for any trace of her sister, she ends up finding her uncle just standing there in the front doorway. Heartbroken, he screams into the darkness, asking someone what they're waiting for, but it looks like he's completely lost his mind. Terrified, Emma tries to sneak around as he starts taking his frustrations out on the lamp, but he catches her just as she's about to scoot past. That's when he starts telling a story about the day that it all went wrong, explaining explaining how one night many years ago he accidentally fired a bullet straight through the window, leading to the death of their neighbor's son, but he never actually faced justice for his crimes. Now, he feels like karma is finally coming back to get him, but instead of going after him, it's targeting his family. After getting it off his chest, the man breaks down crying and wanders off, leaving Emma here completely stunned. Horrified, she goes quietly upstairs and starts looking around for any sign of the other girls, but that's when she hears a voice whispering inside the bathroom. It's Paige, but by now she's too traumatized to say anything useful. Just then, they get a call on Paige's phone from Madison's landline, and picking up, they find out that it's the girl's worried mother calling to see where she is. Strangely, she told her mother that Miss Durr was coming after them and said that she was calling to say goodbye, but Emma plays it off all like it's just a joke, promising to call her back in just a few minutes. Going back to the bathroom door, she starts telling Paige what happened, but eventually the other girl stops responding. Desperate, Emma begs her to say it was all just a prank, but now she's gone totally silent, and opening the door, she's horrified to discover that Paige has completely vanished into thin air. There's no sign of her anywhere, and since Madison hasn't come back either, that makes 3 down with only 4 more to go. Just then, Madison calls her back, and frustrated, Emma shouts at her for playing games, but that's when she realizes that it's actually her younger sister. The girl sounds worried, explaining that she went to the neighbors with the other girls, but now she can't find her way out. With no time to waste, Emma immediately rushes downstairs and sneaks outside, making her way towards the house across the street. As she goes, Lily mentions that there's someone holding her hand, and they said that what's about to happen is all her fault. But it's too dark for the girl to see their face, and suddenly the call goes quiet. Well, I guess Lily just met the neighbor. I mean, I thought having to move in with her drunk uncle was bad, but at this rate, Emma won't be having any family left by the end of the night, and when that happens, there's only one thing left to say. Sorry, Emma, but you all the way up. Like, okay, I know how important it can be to get involved with the wrong crowd. Nothing says friends forever like sending you into an asthma attack and making fun of your dead parents, right? I mean, these girls made enough wild comments to justify a fist fight within the first 10 seconds of meeting them. And yet, you still let Taylor gaslight you into taking their side? Girl. Now, I'm not saying you had to start handing out knuckle sandwiches, but sometimes you need to know when to stand up for yourself, and this was clearly one of those times. It was obvious from the start that these girls were bad news, and you let them talk you into helping with their evil plan. And now it looks like you're about to face the scariest thing of all, which is, get ready for it, the consequence of your actions. And the craziest part is that it looks like Taylor's getting off scot-free, even though this whole thing was mostly her idea. You can blame the other girls all you want, but unfortunately, karma doesn't care about peer pressure. So sorry, Emma, but that's why you just f***ed up. So having said all that, learning what her uncle did actually might be the key to solving this. Technically, he's the one who Mrs. Durr is really after, so if it were me, I would convince him to follow me over to the neighbor's house. Yeah, and once they're inside, Emma can use her uncle as a meat shield, offering him up to the spirit as a way to get her little sister back. And if my theory is correct, then Miss Durr just might let the girls go. Desperate to save her sister, Emma rushes over to the house and starts nervously creeping up the front steps. The door's locked, and there's no sign of anyone home, but that's when she hears something go bump up on the second floor. Nervous, she carefully heads upstairs, quietly announcing herself to whoever might be there. On a shelf, she finds some of the family's belongings, including a picture of a girl who must be Julie, and a book about recovering from severe burns. Finally, she makes her way into the girls' room and finds someone lying on the bed, but that's when the power goes out, leaving the entire house completely dark. Using her phone light, she gets down for a closer look, only to realize that the girl is dead. And it looks like somehow their prank must have gone horribly wrong. Terrified, she immediately starts rushing around the house looking for her sister, but that's when she hears Julie's father coming in through the front door. Her only choice is to take cover inside the shower, until finally he leaves and goes back to his daughter's room, giving Emma a chance to sneak away. Rushing back downstairs, she hears her sister calling from behind a door and opens it to find her hiding on the basement steps. But when she goes to leave, She's horrified to discover that they're locked inside. Just then, they hear Julie's father coming down to check the fuse box, leaving them only a few seconds to find somewhere to hide. Staying as quiet as possible, they watch as the man enters the basement and starts looking around with his flashlight. And when Emma looks down, she finds the evil doll sitting right by their feet. Next to it, there's a picture of a strange girl who's not Julie, and only Emma knows who she really is. Stunned, she becomes so focused on the picture that she doesn't notice Julie's father going back upstairs. But Lily finally snaps her out of it and says that they need to run. Rushing upstairs, they make a break for the door and start running back across the street. It looks like they're home free, but when Emma goes to shut the door, she's horrified to see a pale woman in dirty clothes standing right in the middle of the driveway. Freaking out, she tells her sister to get upstairs and starts looking for their uncle, but now there's no sign of him either. That's when she gets a call from Taylor, and the girl explains that she really has been at the airport this entire time. It turns out that when they were younger, Emma bullied a girl who ended up passing away, and it was her picture that she found in the other basement. And it looks like her uncle was right. Karma really is coming back to get them, and she's worried that the spirit of Mrs. Durr is going to come after her next. Panicking, Emma's wondering what to do next when she hears the police arrive across the street. She knows that she's in big trouble no matter what, but when she looks upstairs, she sees the spirit of Miss Durr about to enter her sister's room. Horrified, she rushes up after her, but when she gets to the room, she finds her sister lying peacefully in bed. Worried that she might not survive, she makes her sister promise that she won't turn out to be a bully before going outside to confront the spirit on her own. Within seconds, she's immediately cornered by the terrifying spirit, and running for her life, she dodges around and locks herself in the bathroom, listening as the ghost starts slamming against the door. That's when she gets a mysterious text, opening it to find a picture of herself taken from right behind her back. Turning around, she looks straight at the camera as the ghost starts chasing her down the stairs. But when she makes it to the living room, the stairs just keep going down and down into an endless black void. It looks like the spirit of Miss Durr has finally captured her after all. In the end, that makes 5 down with only 2 survivors, and it looks like everyone learned a valuable lesson. Never play pranks on a girl who lives in a haunted house. Let's scare Julie. Boy, God! Yeah, that shit was crazy. But yeah, I mean, this one was, I just did not know where it was gonna go. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. Granted, the seat wasn't very big, and I was kind of leaning to the right a little bit the whole time. But yeah, I had no idea where this movie was gonna go. So congratulations. You finished a movie and you got it out there into the world. You guys gotta let me know if you would have done anything differently in this movie. And leave a like and subscribe. And check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. Yeah, you know how this goes. I'm the guy. We'll see you in the next video and have a damn good day.